The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
If you are flying this holiday, experts have a major warning. Give yourself extra time to get through traffic and security and prepare for flight delays and cancellations due to that massive winter storm. And we're already seeing hundreds of cancellations already this morning. Chris Wolf has more.
It's beginning to look a lot like heavy traffic going nowhere. Just a couple of days before Christmas, this was the scene heading into LAX Thursday evening. Friday is expected to be the busiest travel day of the week, but seems many people are trying to get a head start.
It's frustrating. I was here a block away sitting in traffic for like an hour. It took a while just to get up the street.
Whether you're going by car or plane this year, a weather phenomenon called a bomb cyclone is blasting a large part of the country with life-threatening, frigid Arctic air. And the crippling conditions that creates will impact travel in just about every state, directly or indirectly.
It's been terrible, actually. This is not how you want to spend the holidays.
Checked our flight, 5 this morning and headed to the airport, and then when we got here, we found it was canceled.
The National Weather Service is warning of heavy snow, blizzard conditions, flash freezes, strong winds, and wind chill factors in some areas as low as 40 degrees below zero. According to FlightAware.com, tracking flights within, into, or out of the United States, there were nearly 10,000 delays and nearly 2,500 cancellations on Thursday. Many of the major carriers are waiving change and cancellation fees if you act on your own, not taking any chances with the winter storm. Shockwaves are reaching all the way to LAX in sunny Southern California with a growing number of setbacks. Thursday evening, airport officials reported 54 flight cancellations, 545 delays, and a 60% on-time rating for the day. That's down from 90% earlier in the week.
Chris Wolf reporting. Your time now is 5:06 and your 17 Court Watch. The parents of a young man and girl killed by an alleged impaired driver are suing the Greenfield Union School District. The suit filed by the parents of 19-year-old J.J. Malone and 10-year-old Kaylee Brown alleges the area where the two were hit was used as a bus stop despite being located on a high-speed, heavily trafficked road. Malone and Brown were waiting for their younger brother on December 8, 2021, when a car went over the sidewalk and hit them. A hearing for the lawsuit is scheduled for April. Lisa Kaur, the driver of that car, is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. Her trial has been scheduled for February.
Disgraced Dodgers pitcher Trevor Bauer can resume his baseball career at the beginning of next season after he was suspended for alleged sexual assault. The 31-year-old missed most of the 2021 season and all of this past season after he was accused of sexual assault by a San Diego woman. MLB's independent arbitrator reinstated Bauer, but docked his salary for the first 50 games of the 2023 season. The Dodgers released a brief statement shortly after the decision, saying, quote, that they will comment as soon as practical. The team has 14 days to decide whether to keep Bauer on the roster. Official criminal charges were never filed against Bauer, but MLB did conduct a private investigation, which led to Bauer's initial 324-game suspension.
Well, California's earthquake early warning system was put to the test this week when a 6.4 magnitude tremor shook parts of Northern California. Now state officials say the technology did what it was designed to do, notifying millions of people before the shaking reached them. Capitol correspondent Eitan Wallace tells us how many people received advanced warnings and how you can make sure you're signed up before the next big one hits.
Well, those working around the clock here at the California Office of Emergency Services say the system was a success and likely saved lives. Roads cracked, homes off their foundations, and items all over the floor. All of this, the aftermath of Tuesday's magnitude 6.4 earthquake in Ferndale along California's North Coast region. But the shaking also blamed for deadly outcomes. Officials say 2 elderly people who suffered medical emergencies during or after the quake died when they could not receive medical care in time. At least 12 others were hurt. Still, the Cal OES team monitoring the situation says the quake could have been a whole lot worse were it not for the nation's first of its kind earthquake early warning system sent right to Californians' phones through the MyShake app.
Yeah, that absolutely saves lives.
Brian Ferguson with Cal OES says that's because just as it was designed to do, the app sent out a notification warning of impending shaking, this time reaching about 3 million Californians in the greater earthquake zone, giving some communities as much as 10 seconds to prepare.
Any amount of preparedness we can get is helpful. The fact that people can get notifications before the event is an absolute showstopper for us in emergency management.
With a few seconds warning, you can get into a safer position more quickly. You can stop handling toxic materials. The doctor can take the laser out of your eye. All of those are really important steps towards preserving life safety.
Seismologist Dr. Lucy Jones was instrumental decades ago in informing decision makers about what it would take to get the early warning system up and running. Fast forward to today, she says the system is solid, but adds there's always room for improvement.
Especially the delivery process. How do you go from the government computer recording the earthquake, knowing there's one underway, to a message showing up on your phone? It's good, but it could be better.
But with or without that improvement, Jones says most important is for Californians to have a safety plan for the next one.
I know there will be bigger earthquakes in the future. When they will happen is random. The earthquake's inevitable. The disaster is not.
And Android users already have the MyShake app automatically on their phones, but if you're an iPhone user, you'll have to go to the App Store and download it from there. It could make all the difference when the next one hits. Reporting from Cal OES headquarters near Sacramento, Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
Breaking news overnight, the January 6th committee released its final report detailing the panel's 18-month-long investigation into the insurrection. NBC's Bree Jackson has been covering the hearings and the committee's work.
In an 8-chapter report, the House committee investigating the January 6 attack reveals details of their findings, laying out proof that former President Trump planned to urge his supporters to march to the U.S. Capitol, outlining a fake elector scheme formed by the Trump campaign, and saying it was all part of a multi-step effort devised and driven by Donald Trump to overturn the 2020 election.
No one is above the law, even a former president.
The former president took to social media blasting the report as a witch hunt. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi praising the committee's work.
We have a vital roadmap in ensuring justice will be done and that this won't happen again.
The report lays out 11 recommendations, including overhauling election laws. That's a step Congress is taking as part of its massive spending package. The $1.7 trillion bill includes $45 billion in aid for Ukraine and funds federal agencies through September.
Number 4 with an amendment is agreed to.
Senators passed the measure Thursday. A House vote today helps prevent a government shutdown before Christmas.
I sincerely hope this holiday season will drain the poison that has infected our politics and set us against one another.
The new year brings a new Congress. Republicans will control the House, while Democrats will hold the majority in the Senate. The committee also recommends barring former President Trump from holding office again. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Meantime, on his continued quest to shore up enough votes to get the Speaker's gavel in January, Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy is taking center stage in the battle between Republicans in the House and Senate to fund the government for another year, going as far as offering a threat to his GOP counterparts in the upper chamber. 17's political reporter Maddie Gannon has more.
With the start of a new Congress and the much-anticipated Speaker vote just 2 weeks away, Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy taking a hard line on the sprawling 2023 government funding bill.
We will have the gavel, do a short-term CR, put it into the end of January, into February.
McCarthy arguing to delay a new funding bill until the GOP takes control of the House in the new year, when he says Republicans will have more say in the price and priorities.
What the senators are using They're using a few people who say they're not yet decided upon what they're going to do for Speaker. So they're saying, well, Kevin doesn't know if he'll be able to get it done. They're trying to say that. We can get the job done.
McCarthy endorsing a letter sent by a handful of House Republicans, including the 5 who oppose him for Speaker, with McCarthy pledging any legislation from a Republican senator who votes for the bill will be, quote, dead on arrival in the GOP-controlled House.
Kevin's in a tough spot.
Senate Republicans firing back.
Statements like that and statements coming from House Republicans is the very reason that some Senate Republicans feel they probably should spare them from the burden of having to govern.
Meanwhile, Hanford Congressman David Valadao saying it's the rushed and all-encompassing nature of the bill that gives him doubts.
They'll wait for this last minute, just drop it on our laps and hope for the best. And this strategy is horrible. And so voting for this bill, I see it as supporting this process, and I just don't think that's helpful.
17's political reporter Maddie Gannon reporting McCarthy can only afford to lose 4 Republican votes for Speaker if all House members are present and voting on January 3rd.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.